Hi, my name is Brennan Ross. I will be showing off my project for UAlbany's showcase, specifically my project for CINF371, which is Game Design and Development 1, with Professor Lazinski. My game is Tax Gamble, which is an analog game. If you're unfamiliar with what analog games are, it's basically a non-digital game. So tabletop games, card games, board games, things like that. Basically not following a digital game standalone, like a lot of games are currently. Now, my game Tax Gamble, I unfortunately for this video do not have the finished project yet, as it's still being worked on. But it'll be done at Showcase, so I hope to see you then. Or if you're seeing this after Showcase or I hope you enjoy my final product, as it'll, be a bit of a surprise since it's not in this video. I do have my playable prototype with me, right here. This is a prototype I made for it, just to be a playable prototype. I wanted to see if it worked in concept and fully, so I designed it. Now, for Tax Gamble, it started off when I went to a game jam, global game jam, a little while ago, and I came up with the board game Tax Gamble, and I really just wanted to see how much I could work on it. Since then, change it up, see if I could change out the rules, change out a board, and just really see how much further I could take it. Currently, there's no digital version of it, but I hope to digitalize it eventually, and hope to add some other aspects to it, such as randomization. We'll get to more what I mean by that once, I explain the rules, but guess without further ado, I will show you. Just one second. So going over the rule set, of a quick explanation how we play before I more show specifics of it. The goal of this game is to be the first player to reach a certain point amount, which the players themselves can determine for really however long they want to play. But I have it standardly set for the best out of 3 or 5, the first to reach 5, the first to reach 3, really whichever way that the players themselves would like to play, is, kind of really up to them. If they want to play a shorter form, they can do such as up to 3 or best out of 3. If they wanted to do longer, they could do best out of 5, or they could go even longer. But starting off, each player just selects how much that the other person owes, which on this prototype, you would just use the slider up here and select a value. It's a bit difficult to see. My camera's unfortunately not that good. But they would select a value like that. You don't let the other player know, but that's however much they owe. At our final version, we will have cards, which you'll pick out of a deck that you have and just set that off to the side, or just hold on to that, and that's however much they owe. I chose to opt to go to a standard deck instead of staying with this style, as my handwriting's not good. That's the main reason. But I think it also looks a bit more professional and nicer overall. So those, unfortunately, there's none on hand currently, as they're still actually printing. But those will be at Showcase, and that's what you select your value as. Then the players will both roll a singular die, 1 each, and that determines however many. 1, whoever has more will go first, but 2, that determines how many questions and guesses you have. So out of the 2 rolls I had, I just got a 3 and a 5. So the player with 5 would go first, and that would mean they have 5 turns to question and narrow down what number they owe. And then at the end of those 5, so 5 questions to narrow it down, they have 1 guess. And then the player with 3 would have 3 questions and a guess. It's not a race to see who can finish or who can get it before the other, which I'll get more to that soon. But the questions can be asked in whatever format the players really decide Legitimacy, they can question amongst each other if they want to accept things. How far out do they want to go? Do they want to go standard just questions, which very traditional format, such as like, is it above $800 and things like that? Or do they want to try and go more far out? For instance, does it contain a 6 shape in it, such as that would contain all numbers within a 6 and a 9, technically? Or does it cost more than a Wendy's Biggie bag? Is one thing I heard during play testing. So once again, players can determine the legitimacy of these amongst each other. And if they're not going to accept the legitimacy, then they can always ask another question. But it's up to the players themselves for that. I think that adds more creative freedom, and at least in the play testings of it, it seemed to be more enjoyed when it was more freedom given for that. But they'll take turns going back and forth between those. When when both players will run out of questions, they'll make the final guess, as I said, which, if correct, they'll wait for the other person. Or even if it's incorrect, they'll still wait. Once both players have their guesses, if both are correct, it'll move on to a separate set of rules called gamble rules. If both players also get it wrong, it moves on to that set of rules as well. If one player gets it right and the other does not, the player who got it correct wins that point. Now, gamble rules. The second subsidiary set of rules, which function differently than standard game. It's kind of like a mini game in it. How it works is it'll take the two players and then also add in a third thing called house. House doesn't win or lose anything. It's there simply as a standpoint system. But house will get one card face down, one card face up, similarly to that. And then both players will get 2 cards face up. Once both players have 2 cards face up, house is 1 up, 1 down. The players can determine if they would like to take another card or if they would like to stay as they are. The goal of it is to try and get to 21, not above. If you were above, unfortunately, you are losing that hand. And you're trying to get as close to it as possible without going up, as I said. You're going against house, so in this case, they got a 20. They should probably stay. It's a very low chance that they're going to get a 1. And once both players stay, house will flip over their other card. So in this case, they have 18. How it works for that is house will keep on going once the players have stopped until they are 17 or higher. If they're below 17, they're going to just keep taking cards until they're at 17 or higher. Now, with it, if a player's hand is under 20, or if a player's hand is under 21, but they are still above house, they will get another guess. So you can ask for a specific number. That player can ask for a specific number, and so on and so forth. If the player's hand is 21 specifically, they will both get a question and a guess, so they can narrow it down even more and then do a selection. If the player is below the dealer, they lose that hand, or below house, they lose the hand. And if no player wins that round, they'll just play it again. They'll play another hand. If both players win the hand, they both get whatever reward they got. So if one got 21, but one got 20, and house got 18, then both of them will get the reward. So the player who got 21 will get a guess and a question, and the player who got 20 will get a guess. And as I said, if both players lose the hand, they'll just play another hand until they get a reward. It's more here as a fail-safe system than anything, just in case both players get a really low roll, such as 1. It's unlikely they're going to get it in the 1. For the values of each card, the royals, so Jack, Queen, King, are going to be all worth 10. Number cards are worth whatever value they are, so say a 9 is worth 9. Aces are going to be worth 1 or 11, whichever the player determines that they would like for. And lastly, jokers, which are in this deck. If they have a deck, or if they have a joker in that hand, regardless of what the other card is, it is automatically counting as a 21. So they will both get the question and the guess. It's unlikely, there's only 2 in the deck, but I think it adds a fun system there. And it'll just keep cycling back through like that until a player is able to get it correct. If both players manage to get it correct, and they're going to these rule sets, or if they both, failed, got to this rule set and narrowed it down on the same one, then they are playing against each other in a hand such as this. So house is no longer involved. It is simply whoever gets closer to 21 without going over will get the point. It's just a simple tiebreaker mechanic. But pretty much we'll just narrow down who gets the point for that hand. And that's it for the rule set. I have it nicely contained in this rule book right here. It's not overtly long, just 2 pages. The main set of rules, and then, and then the other set on the second page. For the board, the playtest, you were able to select with this, and then, just flip up these with the values as you narrow it down. It wasn't overtly complicated. My final board will be a tiny bit different on how it functions. I don't currently have the board with me either. Same concept, it is still being produced. But it will probably have something similar to this design printed across it. It's just the design I worked up. I think it looks nice for the overall system of it. But it'll probably have this printed across it on the top, and a few other pieces. For the pieces matching kind of the yellow ones, we have these, which I 3D modeled and printed. It's hard to see on this camera, but they are used to hold cards, which, same thing, I don't have with me, but they will be there at Showcase, and these basically will hold a card. They're not meant for this size, so it's not holding it the best. But it'll hold a card in it, and on one side, it'll have both a design like this, and on the other, it'll have the value of whatever you're guessing. And then same thing, another deck for each player, just for whatever they're selecting as a value instead of a selection slot. And that's it for Tax Gamble for the most part. I hope to see you at Showcase. Hopefully you'll try out the game, or I could show you it when it's done. If you're seeing this after Showcase or before, after Showcase or during,